Hey everybody, welcome back to Garage Gear. I'm JB, and today marks a big day. Today marks stage 2 of our lawn care plan. Our goal is to get it greener by putting down our first dose of fertilizer. Today is March 15th, and it is actually the perfect time to start laying down your first dose of fertilizer for the season. Your next question may be, well, how do I know if the lawn is ready for fertilizer yet? Well, obviously we don't want any snow on the lawn, right? Well, what we're gonna do is actually take the lawn's temperature. What I have here is a basic thermometer. We're gonna put this in about 3 to 4 inches down into the ground, and we're gonna check the temperature of the soil. If the soil is no longer frozen, below 32 degrees, then you are ready to start fertilizing. I've also taken a look at our long-term forecast for the next about 2 weeks. We're gonna have temperatures fluctuating between the 40s and 50s and nighttime temps hovering right around the mid-30s. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our thermometer, we're gonna stick it in about 3 to 4 inches down into the ground, and we're gonna take the temperature. And that's gonna get us down into the root zone, ladies and gentlemen. Typical grass roots go down about 3 to 4 inches. So this is going to be perfectly right where we want it. So we're gonna come back to this in a couple minutes and we'll check the temperature. Always check around your entire property in maybe 3 or 4 different spots. It's been a couple minutes and this may come up a little blurry here. I'm gonna try to shadow it a little. Our temperature for the soil is hovering right around 40 degrees. So we are good to go. So another way to tell that the ground is no longer frozen is by looking around the neighborhood for forsythia bushes. They look like this, and they're usually bright yellow in early spring. They're the first to bloom. Let me tell you a few things about this Earthway 2600A spreader. First off, this is an outstanding spreader. The reason I bought this spreader mainly was for its round bucket-like shape. It actually helps draw all of the fertilizer down to the bottom, and it helps get a nice even disbursement on the yard. The old fertilizer spreader that I used to have was more rectangular in shape, and the disbursement hole that all the fertilizer crept out of was actually higher than the base of the bottom of the fertilizer spreader. So I actually got a poor disbursement of fertilizer across the lawn with it. This one, totally different. Everything drains right to the bottom and shoots right out. Another reason why I bought it, it has air-filled tires. My old one had big clunky plastic wheels, and whenever I hit a bump, the whole unit would bounce, and this actually kind of helps minimize the bounce. It has 3 nice wide drain holes to help disperse all of your fertilizer evenly. It also has size spread control, which allows me to control or limit the amount coming out, so that way I only throw to one side versus the whole swath. Now if we look, 2 of my holes are closed off or blocking any fertilizer from coming out, and only 1 hole is open. This helps out quite a bit because I have a lot of edges here, 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 and all around the yard. What's nice here is I have plenty of control over how much or how little I want to put down in terms of fertilizer. This lever actually does a really good job opening and closing up these holes and makes them as wide as possible as I want to make them, or as small as I want them to make them. I will actually have a link down below in the description for this fertilizer spreader. So guys, fertilizing is actually quite easy, and if you're nervous about it, you shouldn't be. If you're kind of familiar with it, it should probably only take you about 10 or 15 minutes or so, depending on the size of your property. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the fertilizer we're gonna be putting down on the yard. So now the fertilizer we're going to be using today is made by the Andersons. It is a 16-4-8, which stands for 16 nitrogen, 4 phosphorus, 8 potassium fertilizer with a humic DG. And it says PGF complete, which stands for professional grade fertilizer. And this bag has tons of slow release nitrogen. Slow release nitrogen is actually great for your lawn in the spring. It actually helps wake the lawn up at a nice pace. If I were to use more of a product that has a high nitrogen level, well, if I dump that on the grass, I'm basically shocking the grass right away into waking up. Ask yourself this question: were you ever sleeping and somebody startled you to wake you up? How did it feel? Did it kind of shock you? All right, it probably wasn't comfortable, right? Same thing for the lawn. If we're waking it up, we probably want to do it gradually. So along with the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, it also has tons of micronutrients in here to help boost the lawn, as well as humic acid. It also has 3% iron, which is going to give the lawn that super dark green color. This bag cost me about $60, and it covers 10,000 square feet. Now, if we go back to my workbench over here, and we take a look at my property map, you can see that I have just about 10,000 total square footage of lawn. So I have 10,241, but I'm gonna round that to 10,000 to make my math easy. It says here at the bottom, we're gonna use a light rate of application. We're gonna put it down at 3.6 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So my holes at the bottom are closed. Let's fill her up. That's some colorful stuff. Very small particles there. All right, everybody. So the bag actually calls for about 14 on these Earthway spreaders. So what we're gonna do is, that's probably about right, knowing this fertilizer and knowing my spreader as well. I'm gonna put it at about 15 to start. And if I notice it's putting down too much, then I'm just gonna back it down. Now, the difference between a 14 and 15 is not that great. So I'm gonna just kind of test it there. And then when I pull up on this lever here, like that, and get it to 15, we're good. That's as far up as it needs to go, and that's not gonna open the holes very much. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the side spread control on the Earthway, and I'm going to go down around the perimeter of this parkway. I'm gonna do a full circle around it, and then I'll go one shot down the middle on normal spread. So now I'm gonna reach under and I'm gonna put it back to a normal throwing mode, and I'm gonna go right down the center here, and we're gonna spread this fertilizer nice and wide. So now I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And a good thing to keep in mind is to maintain a good walking speed. You don't wanna go too slow, because then the swath will kind of go down. And if you walk too fast, you're gonna fling it out into the street. So an important thing to keep in mind here now, I've done the whole perimeter of the yard here, and here is my wheel mark because the other wheel was riding on the sidewalk. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out to about here, and I'm going to travel down a straight line running parallel to this one, this mark that I just left, and that swath will throw right to the wheel marks of my previous path. So I'm going to do that all the way down the yard. So go up, throw to the previous path, come back down, throw to the previous path, and so on and so forth down the yard. Ladies and gentlemen, so you can see I got just a little bit left, so my math was pretty close. Now what I'm going to do is my neighbor line right here. So I'm going to show him that I got the darkest, greenest grass on the block. And here I am back by the pool, and I almost always forget about this area. I have a little bit left still in my spreader, so I'm going to throw this down by hand, and if I throw too much in one area, it will not burn the lawn. So that's what we're going to do now. Ladies and gentlemen, so if you are putting down fertilizer such as this one, that's great. All right, now there are many of other alternatives that you could use. Milorganite, that's a great tried and true organic fertilizer. You could also use Ringer Lawn Restore, that's another good one. The price has gone up quite a bit on that one though. That's more plant-based, okay? That's a good organic fertilizer. There's another one by Purely Organics Lawn Food. That's a good one as well. That's all organic too. So check them out, ladies and gentlemen, and don't be afraid to really get them down on your property and make your lawn the best lawn on the block. And the cool thing about those organic fertilizers is you could really throw a lot of it down and your lawn will be just fine in case you put too much in one spot. That fertilizer that I just threw down, I'll probably start seeing results with it in about 5 days or so. But if I go about another 2 weeks, that's when I'm really gonna start to see some serious results and watch the lawn glow green. Now, it is always good to water your fertilizer in, but I'm expecting rain here in about 24 hours or so. So that'll help get it down into the soil and into the roots. And then it's gonna dry up for about another day, and then it's gonna rain some more later in the week. So I think I'm good there. And ladies and gentlemen, most of what I put down on a regular basis on my lawn is organic fertilizer, with the exception of a few synthetics for mainly weed control and maybe a starter fertilizer here and there. That's it. Making our soil better, making our root structure better, ultimately delivering a greener lawn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for stage 2 of our lawn care plan. To stay tuned to all the latest upcoming lawn care videos, smash that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you have any lawn care tips that you would like to share, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.